I will start with Vedic vision first. In Sri Suktam, there are two powers of money. One is Lakshmi, and other is Alakshmi. And both sisters are the powers of money. And it's quite amazing, this intuition what Vedic rishis had. So one is the divine power of money and wealth. And Lakshmi, as Sri Aurobindo describes this power, is will not come to the place where there is disharmony or competition or fighting or hating or fear or anything of disorder. It will not come into that environment where there is no mutual respect, harmony, and love. Now notice, this is the divine power of money, which is hardly recognizable in the environment today. It's more competitive, more, elbow moving and promoting oneself. So this is the power of Alakshmi described in Sri Suktam. It is built on the underground forces, those forces of panis, those misers, traffickers, which hold wealth in the darker place, in the subconscious cave, or that very cave which Mother discovered in the inconscient. You remember she describes this in Agenda. So where the python is around, this is the cave of money. Those are the traffickers and misers and traders who trade the wealth for the aggrandizing themselves. They are constantly promoting themselves by trading wealth. They do not know the true value of wealth, but they know that you can trade it, you can exchange it for other powers. So they buy other powers with this power. Many forces of Kubera, for example, there is another great, and also those gnomes, gnomes in the Western tradition who live in the mountains, in the caves. They are possessors of wealth, but they are misers. They're very stingy. They're very small, very egoistic. They never share their wealth. They only trade it, traffic it, redirect it. And this is the power of Alakshmi. Now, I'm just putting the foundation of two great powers of money. One is the divine wealth, supporting all universal power of money, which harmonizes all in oneness, takes care for all, like supramental power, yes, which covers all the needs of all the beings, like nature. And the other is this subconscious or even inconscient power, which is grabbing the light, putting it into the subconscious cave, holding it away by darkness, separating it by darkness from others, and then trading it, directing it with its egoistic demands. So this is the presentation, the most general kind of opening for the discussion. And of course, you can see in the world both powers are there. Yes? So how to convert that subconscious power into this Lakshmi? How to return, how to give back to Lakshmi this power of the inconscient, which was grabbed by the panis. Panis are the traffickers who grab the light of our higher perception, and store it in the subconscious cave. How to release that light? Now, the Veda speaks about the breaking the Vala, that cave of wonders in Aladdin, that very where genie is with all the wealth. Yeah, you break the wealth, your wall is Vala, interesting, wall and Vala, the same etymology. You break Vala and you release the light, you release the herds of the sun, you discover a new dawn. All the treasures come from that subconscious cave into manifestation, which were stored over millennia, from the beginning of time, those creatures were grabbing and storing it into the subconscious cave. These two powers of wealth, one is transcendental Lakshmi and other is inconscient of Panis. And in between we are living in between these two powers of total egoism, of Panis, and survival and support of oneself, and supporting all and everyone in their growth and development. We are in between these two dilemmas constantly. Did you notice? Yeah? It's ongoing fight within us. And wealth is only reflecting that fight. Okay, some thoughts? No?
So who is, I missed the metaphor of the wall. And who is breaking the wall?
Yes, the Angirasa Rishis coming with Indra, Agni, Soma, Brihaspati. Brihaspati with his cry breaks the wall, the cave, and releases all the hidden treasures. Yeah? Angirasa Rishis, these our forefathers who are the ancestors, of our spiritual ancestors, who are still working on this. They want to release hidden treasures. We are full of hidden divine treasures, but we cannot use them properly. So we direct them with our egoistic perception. We are constantly trading. What Mother discovered in this cave of wonders, when she came to it, she discovered that the true masters of this wealth is the sexual power. The sexual power on earth. The power of money, she says, is extraterrestrial. It's not from earth. It comes from the vital worlds. And she says that it is most probably even more ancient than earth itself. So it is existing from the immemorial times. And so it came to earth when human beings got their free will. For the first time, they discovered their mind. And that mental freedom, which made them, as she says, on the par with nature, that human beings became as powerful as nature because they could decide for themselves now. They sold that freedom of mental will to this power of money. So their actions were now regulated by that wealth power of extraterrestrial force. They made royalties, people to rule other people, to sell their labor, to sell the resources of earth. They traded everything. They made it in their own way with people. So now it's very difficult for us to act directly without this veil of money in between us. We have to learn to act consciousness upon consciousness, as it were, to act directly with each other. This happens only within the families. Even there is a difficulty. Because money, even there, it entered and defined the relations, even within the families. But between mother and son or mother and child, for example, there is no money issue yet. So this is that type of relations of love and concern and harmony and self-giving and sacrificing. That power we have to re-establish between ourselves. That's why Mother didn't want money to be a guiding force in Auroville. She said that in Auroville there will be no sovereign lord, money. She calls it a sovereign lord, which possesses the earth and all human relations. She wanted to remove his power from relations within Auroville. So we would act upon we would collaborate on different ground, not through money. And when I say through money, I don't mean only cash. I mean the whole mindset, which is constantly calculating whether it is feasible for me or not, whether it is giving some position or not. Then power enters here also. And sex is the driving engine of this, the self-enjoyment, enjoyment of the lower nature, vital nature, where money is the Lord. So sex, power, and money are three heads of this dragon. They have one stomach. With one stomach, three heads. They are all feeding the same stomach. If you look at the civilization we built outside, all these buildings, roads, cars, airplanes, everything, just look at it. And you will see that imprint of power and enjoyment. But selfish enjoyment. Okay, I stop here. I guess Dipti left because she has a meeting. This is in a nutshell the whole thing which you will read about in those 150 pages. And we can discuss next time if you want. We can look into this topic and see how we could approach it differently, divinely, how to make this force, how to say, Lakshmi's force, how to give it to Lakshmi again. You see, Lakshmi doesn't need money. Lakshmi arranges everything as harmony, as love relations, as true relations. It doesn't need the intermediary force to really connect. It connects consciousness to consciousness, love to love. See, it doesn't require any money. And Saraswati, Mahasaraswati, is the force which is organizing all the relations, all the technologies of relations within society. And these two are not going together. You know that, yes? In Indian tradition, they don't live in the same house. Lakshmi and Saraswati. Why? Why do you think? If they would live in the same house, we would have no problem with money, I think. Because Saraswati arranges everything. She could make things work. But Lakshmi doesn't have that power, doesn't make things work. It requires harmony and love. And in between them, there is a gap. Amazing, huh? What is that gap about? Yes, Nilima, you're muted.
I was saying it along with you. What is that gap? Just waiting for you to tell us what the gap is. It's interesting.
Creation is the gap. We incorporated the inconscient into the process. The gap is productive for us. It is needed. It is time and space. It's a delay of consciousness and power. Power is not matching the consciousness. This mismatch between the two is productive, creative. If they would match totally, I don't think a manifestation would come into being. By the way, Mother asks the same question. Why did we have to have this? Why did we have to lose our luminosity and divinity? Couldn't we be divine from the beginning and stay and manifest the divine without this losing oneself? She always asks this question and never has the answer for it. So I also don't know. I just know that there is a manifestation in between. I think this question doesn't have the answer. Answer is life, living, embodying it. It's more dynamic rather than conceptual. If you look at the mother's symbol, you will be surprised that, how to say, location of on the symbol is kind of unusual, yeah? Not in the order. Like, look, Maheshwari on one side, next has to be Mahakali, but she's in the opposite side. And then Mahalakshmi on one side, which has to be third one, but then Mahasaraswati is on the opposite side. You see this, yeah? It's unusual because the grades of color actually assume that we should move from kind of Maheshwari to Mahakali, but they are in the opposite. If Maheshwari is the vastness and all-inclusive, transparency and purity, then Mahakali is the vertical line, the intensity of force, just the opposite to the vastness. Yeah? So if Maheshwari is blue in color, then Mahakali is red in color. Blue and red, total opposites. Amazing. Just think about these two first, to see the difference between Mahalakshmi and Mahasaraswati. Also, there will be similar difference. One is Mahalakshmi on the side, which is connecting Mahakali and Maheshwari in the harmony, which creates the vastness and the intensity, vertical, horizontal and vertical expression of the divine into the harmonious relations. Yeah? Has to be expressed in the technology, in technological multitude creation by Mahasaraswati. Mahasaraswati is that force of the supermind which arranges all the multitudes. Multitudes come into the being with the darkness in between, with the space and time in between them, and rearranges them in oneness. But Mahasaraswati needs to pay attention to every detail, to every minutest expression of the truth, not to the global oneness of harmony. So harmony on one side with Mahalakshmi and Mahasaraswati on the other side, working out all those harmonious demands within each element separately. Now here we are coming to this question of 12 qualities from another unexpected side. Yeah? So that was the question of Jayashri, which we couldn't answer. Now we are closer through the four powers of the mother to think it differently or creatively. What is this wealth about? Wealth is associated with Mahalakshmi. Mahalakshmi combines the vastness, the horizontal of Maheshwari, and the vertical intensity of power of Mahakali. Amazing. Huh? Mahasaraswati cannot do this. She is too busy with holding everyone's, manifestation in some coherent, meaningful relations. She spends a lot of energy for creating every form and giving it right to be and functioning. So this is our beautiful unexpected symbol, which is going like this: Maheshwari, Mahakali, Mahalakshmi, Mahasaraswati. You see, crossing. This is the order. In the occultism, there is also very interesting intuition about it. It is the first family of Maheshwari, Mahakali, Mahalakshmi. 1, 2, 3 is the first family. We spoke about the symbols of numbers. Yes? The occultism. 1, 2, 3 is the first original family. Satchit Ananda. Yes? But when supermind comes into existence, it is number 4. And number 4 repeats 1 again, because 4 is nothing but 10. Yes? 1 plus 2, 3, 3 plus 4, 3 plus 3, 6, 6 plus 4, 10. And 10 is 1 again on another round. So Mahasaraswati actually is the beginning of 1, 2, 3 in another round. So the gap between 3 and 4 is defined in occultism as gap which cannot be explained. That gap cannot be explained. Why we have to jump to another one. 1, 2, 3, and then again 1, 2, 3, and then again 1, 2, 3. That transition from 1, 2, 3 to 1, 2, 3 is something stays mysterious. They do not know the explanation. They say, they even speak about this, that 4 appears as a miracle. So Mahasaraswati supermind is a miracle. It's a kind of decision of the divine to manifest himself. That's why supermind comes into existence. Otherwise, he doesn't need to manifest himself. He is already power, consciousness, power, and bliss within himself. He is totally satisfied with what he is. He doesn't need to start manifesting himself in the multitude creation. Mahasaraswati is actually extra, so to say. Now, this is another intuition why Mahalakshmi and Mahasaraswati do not go together. There is a gap between them, some unbridgeable gap, as it were. Okay, I'll stop here. All right, I know this is a bit like maybe new thing or things you maybe didn't expect to speak about, but nevertheless, I'm just sharing with you my thoughts, which I kind of carry within myself for this lifetime. Truly speaking, all the time think how this 4 came into existence. From 3, 1 to 3 is clear. 1 plus 2 equals 3. It's clear. It's a pure family, yes? Absolutely in the quantitative and qualitative sense, 1. But 4? And 4 in the occultistic symbolism is emperor. Emperor is born again. He represents the family of 1 to 3. He starts a new cycle. And 4 is the symbol of the supermind. And 4 is Mahasaraswati, who is actually a power of the supermind, working out all the details of manifestation.
Thank you. That just, just a thought that came to the mind when you explained it this way is maybe that is why, because it is the time for this new creation, excuse me, or this new power to manifest, that everything that is economic in the world is now crumbling. All the structures are crumbling because something new is to be built out of that.
Very nice. Now you brought this, underground money power, Alakshmi, into the picture finally, because when Mahasaraswati starts her building up all the relations on the ground of gap is space and time, the gap between the beings, the working out, shaping all the multitude. So it incorporates the darkness into its process, and within that there is a need in the darkness of light. So what that dark forces do, they grab the light and store it there because they need it. They need it for its own unfolding and development. It is the energy which pushes them in the evolutionary process. It is how Mahasaraswati works it out. And so by pushing all that, by grabbing the forces of light and storing it into the inconscient cave, subconscious cave, they are accumulating an enormous wealth within them, which they don't know value of.
Exactly.
And then it has to be broken one day, and the value has to come back. So, but they have to accumulate enough wealth in order to pop up, as it were, to move forward, pop up. So these are forces of Mahalakshmi stored in the inconscient cave, and that is the gap between Mahasaraswati and Mahalakshmi. Because the light is from Mahalakshmi, but it is stored in the subconscious cave for the sake of manifestation of Mahasaraswati. Wow. I never had this answer. It's only by discussing these things that we can arrive at these unsolved questions, because these are unsolved questions. And if Sri Aurobindo would not give us keys, we would have no chance to really. And the Veda, we need the Veda for this, because this is the Vedic vision. The secret of the Veda is that within the darkness there is the light. The delight is in the depth, on the bottom of the inconscient cave. That's a rock, infinite rock has to be broken, as Sri Aurobindo says. He was digging into this Maya, in this infinite rock of the inconscient darkness, until he came and it broke with light. So the light below and the light above. And this is the secret of the Veda. So Mahalakshmi is on both sides. Only on one side she is Alakshmi.
Yeah.
Not fully Lakshmi. Alakshmi means partially Lakshmi. Wow, beautiful. It's really beautiful. If you'll read it, please read the Shri Suktam. You will see that beauty there. They put it into that hymn. Okay, I will send you all the files I have, and we examine them, read them, and come back what we can do together to make things work right for us. Right?
Yeah.
Thank you for listening. And this is so important if somebody listens deeply, because I would never have arrived at this, why Mahasaraswati storing the light of Mahalakshmi is against her, as it were. Now I understand. Never had this answer, truly speaking, why they cannot live in one house. This Indian tradition, Mahasaraswati and Lakshmi do not live in one house. Either love or order. Choose. Love or order cannot go together.